Just tuck this away. Welcome. We'll be starting in about 4 minutes. If you're watching the replay, you just fast forward. I'll just need your bag. Thank you. Yeah, I look went to sit on my chair. So I'm going to go like that, not facing to you. We're going like this. Oh, I'm not going to go. People do. So feel free to stand here and we'll pull you up. I'm sure it is. Welcome. We'll be starting in about 1 minute. So do our ladies want to stand over that side? Our special ladies. And we'll be starting in just a moment. Just check everyone's good. With a chair. Where's my notes? Yeah, just the Queen of Stitching on this one. There you go. There we go. The Queen of Stitching is here. She is. She's the drum queen. The P for President. P for President. She might be welcome. Okay, so this is where we'll be watching to make sure we're kind of in shot, but you don't have to worry too much yet. Oh, yeah, actually you stand there if you like, because we'll be talking to Lynne first. So welcome everyone, my name's Leanne Peters. This is my husband Corey, and we welcome you to Harmony on High Street here in Campbelltown. We've been open for 11 months, so we have our first birthday next month, which is very exciting. So thanks so much for coming. We're here to celebrate this textile exhibition called OPUS 4, Variations in Stitch. And the work has been created by 4 textile artists from Launceston. We've got Jane Roberts here, we've got Lynne Hargreaves and Rowena Butler and Mignon Mitchell, who couldn't be here today. So I feel excited about this exhibition and that we can showcase and highlight these textile works for the next 4 weeks. I don't know if textile art gets enough credit in the art world. In fact, I wonder if it's kind of underappreciated in some ways. Maybe it's misunderstood. So hopefully we'll get to know a bit more about textile art today. So I want to introduce Lynne. Lynne's going to say a few words. Lynne, I hear, has been the driving force behind getting these works out there. So Lynne, welcome.
I don't have to hold that, do I? Just the communications part, we've been playing with that. That's been quite well. So OPUS 4, what's that about? Well, there are 4 of us, but actually we're part of a group of 10. And 10 is a group of 10 textile artists that are working out of a shed in Riverside, and she's going to talk a bit about that. So we put this exhibition together, I say, with textile artists. The real driver for this, apart from selling work, and that's a very big hint, and the cash register is somewhere over there, is to promote textiles as an art form, because it gets a bit of a bad rap. People tend to think knitting, crochet, which it can be, and we have a knitter in one of our group. It's sort of fibre, and we do lots of things with fibre. We sew it. Predominantly there's a lot of stitching in this, so obviously stitching and beyond. So we use fibre, we use materials, we use stitching, we sew, we weave, we spin. That's the whole aspect of textile art. But if we were defining textile art, defining our practice by the materials, it's like saying a pot of paint is an artwork. Well, it isn't. So it's what we do with those fibres. And as artists, we sort of want to make you see the world differently. And so we can do that visually. We show things in a slightly different lens. We can do it conceptually. We can do it politically, make political statements. Don't worry, there's none of that there happening here. We're actually looking at the visual side. And so we thought we'd actually start with something quite simple. And landscape, everybody knows what landscape is. It's very accessible. We look out there, we see landscapes. But it's 4 viewpoints, 4 ladies with 4 different viewpoints. And personally, my viewpoint is down there. So instead of looking out, I look at the micro landscapes underfoot. And there's a myriad of worlds underfoot. So I don't recommend you walking around looking underfoot because you'll trip up. But it's fantastic. So this set of work that I'm working on, I've based my work on, is leaf litter. You know, it's the things underfoot. So it's a micro landscape. And we've all got different ways to look at things. So we want you to sort of see the world differently. We want you to sort of come look at our work and think, oh, I might have never thought of that way. So that's essentially the purpose of the exhibition. And to promote textile art and northern textile art and northern Tasmanian textile art. And I think that's it. And I think I'll pass you on to Rowena.
Could I ask you a couple of questions first?
Yeah.
So when did it start for you? When did textiles start as an art?
When
she was born.
No, I've always been a maker. I've got background in graphic design. I've worked in the arts industry and arts teaching for years and years and years, and I retired to Tasmania. So that's when my practice really started. Because when you're working, you're sort of brain dead during the day. So all the things you can do is unpick during the week, you know. But and so I was doing things when I was I was in Perth, WA. I was doing things on a Sunday. Sunday was nothing else but sewing. And probably I've been in Tasmania about 8 years now, 9 years. Oh God, that long. But I've always been making, and so, but really as a practice, and retiring, I actually focused on my art practice now. So I've been doing it since I've been here in Tasmania.
That's exciting. So how can we bridge the gap? What do you think? What's your personal opinion about how can we bring textile art? How can it sit alongside a good painting and sort of hold itself, in your opinion?
Well, it does, because you just put it at the side of it and it's fabulous, you know.
It's
So,
art.
and it's that.
Yeah.
I think there's craft in what we do, but it's the driver is art, and and it's really
the intention and the inspiration and the, you know, what drives putting pieces of work together rather than just following a you know, tried and tested rules and,
We're not just assembling and putting things together to a pattern form. You know, we're saying things. So we're saying things visually, and I'm saying this for different viewpoints. So my viewpoint is, you know, looking at leaves and looking down. So I make you want to look at the world in a different sort of way, and I call them sort of micro landscapes. And that's this way. In my day job, I actually do large panoramas. I'm an art quilter, and I do large panoramas, and we couldn't get them in there, of vistas. That's some things that I do. But I'm not justifying it. I'm just putting my work out there. And you know, the Archibald, a couple of years ago, there was a textile work in there. You know, it's fibre. It's the intention that you're doing it by. And I think it's, you know, and actually being in places like this, a professional gallery, when you have sort of beautiful lit work, we don't want our work in old sheep sheds and things. I think that it gets involved, it looks a bit crafty then, you know? And there's nothing wrong with craft. I say there's craft in what we're doing. But if you present your work professionally, well lit, you know, you have your artist statement, you tell people what you're doing, you encourage people to come in. And the thing about places like this, it's very accessible for people to come into a gallery, because galleries are a bit strange places sometimes. If it's just art and what do I do and look. So, you know, having these places is great. So this is, you know, and it's a beautiful professional setup. So we're really happy having it here. So.
Good, thank you. So it's probably more of a mindset, really, like to have textiles next to a painting, say in a gallery, a more formal gallery, is probably more of a mindset rather than the actual thing that's been created.
Well, I think art, there's a quality to things, if it has quality and interest. And the thing, there's a great sort of descriptor of art. Art should engage you either intellectually or emotionally. If it has one of those links and hooks, then it becomes art.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
not just soft furnishings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And can you tell us a little bit about your piece here? What do we call Caught on the Breeze? It's quite like a tapestry, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was. It's interesting because I was thinking, why did I do that? And I remembered it was an assembly of different things, little sort of works that I'd done. I'd been playing with printing. You know, you do experiments, and I'm saying I'm an art quilter, so I put a lot of stitching work into my works. But I sort of assembled various pieces. And it would actually come about because my sister was over from England, and the three of us got together and we said we'd do a work, and we'll do a triptych of this. And I'd had lots of fabric, and we all took some fabric, and we were all going to do a three-part piece, you see. Well, the other two didn't do anything at all, pathetic. But I put this together, and it was work based on just fabrics that we had and assembled, and various. So I built that up, and I was working with sort of leaves, and I thought that this was quite nice, and because I put these on the top and applique, and you know, it was a swirling leaf form, so it evolved, and it's just a different sorts of technique. So there's some printed fabrics in there, you know, I've got repetition going on, it's the same leaf forms, because trees are really good, you know, one leaf times by a million is a canopy, drop it down, leaf litter, you know, so repetition is throughout all my work, because that's essentially what nature does. And then this is just some very simple sort of linear sort of quilting to get a bit of a texture. But I say they were all disparate pieces of fabric that sort of came together. And I think the little pink bits on top was a bit that pulled together. So.
Yeah, it's very effective. Yeah, the colours are great. Thank you, Lynne. Fantastic. Anyone have any questions for Lynne while we've got Lynne on the floor? No. Thank you, Lynne.
We could ask them questions.
We will. We'll be asking in a minute. Okay, Rowena, do you want to step forward? This is Rowena Butler, and Rowena is here to talk about Stitching and Beyond.
First of all, I would like to welcome our President of Stitching Beyond, Chris Hussey, up the back in the lemon jumping. Yay. It's all her fault.
So you're addicted to stitching?
I have yet to acknowledge that. 20 years ago, two ladies in the south of the state, one was mucking around making hats. She was a milliner and a quilter and a felter and a yarn dyer. And her best friend liked to play with interesting materials and was a dyer. And they used to have stalls at markets and they called themselves the Textile Tarts. And they were too. So they thought it would be really good to extend what they were playing with, because they saw it as having a good time, to other people. And the organisation Stitching and Beyond was born 20 years ago in the south of the state. It's morphed now into a statewide organisation, much admired from the mainland. And as it says, it's stitching and beyond. So it could be anything further in art practice that involves some kind of fibre textile practice, or combination of all of the above. You know, we've got shoemakers, we've got printmakers, we've got quilters, and I don't wish to disparage quilters, but people often think of quilting as that craft thing. But when you look at the art quilts and you see them as a work of art rather than just piecing together bits of fabric, then you see it. So Stitching and Beyond encompasses anything to do with any of the above and anything else you can think of. Personally, I would like to work on canvas. Usually there's a bit of printing in there somewhere. There's a lot of glue and medium and other stuff, and then might be, and there will be, some stitching, because I can hardly sew a button on, but now they've bashed me. And it's not a shed in Riverside, it's my studio. So Chris, El Presidente, rang me a couple of years ago and said, "You've got a shed in your backyard." I still remember it. She said, "You've got a shed in your new house, haven't you?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I think you need to start up a northern branch of Stitching and Beyond." And so we did. At the moment we're full, we have 10 members, but that's all we can fit safely for OC health and safety and other reasons. And cups of tea. My God, they drink cups of tea. In the studio, we meet once a month. It's the same day as the Southern organisation, so that's the third Monday of the month. We're really encouraging of anyone else anywhere to get in touch with Stitching and Beyond. If they want to get together, 2 people, 3 people, a shed full of people. The organisation is wonderfully supportive. They look after our insurances, they do all the admin stuff, because, you know, you've got to join up and be a member, but it's cheap as chips.
But that's how it got us.
But that's how it got us together, and now we've got these 10 women who come to play. We have room for men, if we could have a man if we wanted one.
He could build another shed so you could expand.
We could have an extension. But there is scope and opportunity for people who like to stitch, play with fabrics and fibre and stuff like that, to get together for networking, for support, for friendship, fellowship. These guys who come to play with me on a Monday, I didn't know any of them. They were new friends, and now I'm stuck with them. But it's lovely. So Stitching Beyond, Google Stitching and Beyond Tasmania, you'll find it. The website's very useful. There's lots of lovely photos of the work. The organisation holds regular workshops, very important to us for extending our practice. And we're fortunate because quite often there'll be an overseas tutor on the mainland. We could never afford to get them here by ourselves. But if they're on the mainland, it's just it's a phone call, a plane fare and a billet. And they'll come and we can have access to international tutors for a very small fee.
For our exhibition.
Yes, we are. You wanted me to say it, I've said it. What else was I going to say? Yes, other than scheduled monthly meetings, specialised workshops are facilitated with local mainland and often overseas tutors, and exhibitions are staged. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. And don't run away, because I want to ask you about your piece, which I've got the name of it, Sunflowers in the Wetlands, which is the lower one.
Yep.
So what can you tell us about that piece?
Well, I'm fortunate. I live at Riverside, just out of Launceston, and I look at the Tamar Estuary, Canamalooka. I see Tamar Island every morning when I get up, and I see the expanse of Phragmites australis, which is not rice grass, it's the common reed all the way up the river, and I look over to the fields of Mr. Archer's landfall property with his black cattle. So that's my inspiration. It started off as a compilation of inks. An artist, some of you might know of her, Trace Willens, she lives down at Dover. She makes botanical inks. So she collects things like oyster shells, grounds them up, mixes it with medium, and bingo, you've got a white ink, which is marvellous. She does lots of colours, but they're all natural. We started off with an aerial view of the riparian area with all the little funnels of the water coming down and the bits and stuff. And then suddenly the doilies came out, and I thought, my friend over there grows sunflowers. Gosh, they look like sunflowers. And so they became sunflowers. So then we started cutting up doilies, which was sacrilege, but it was good when I did it. So yeah,
Beautiful.
that's you know.
So it's kind of like a collage in some
It
ways,
is a
isn't
collage,
it?
and there's a lot of collage in stitching, beyond. A lot of collage in our practice. If you look at Mignon's work, the three little ones there, all to do with collaging a mix of stitch, fabric, text onto canvas because it's easy to hang. There's a lot of it. But my premise is T.S. Eliot. Anyone did T.S. Eliot at school? A lot of his poems talk about the landscape, in that you can't know the landscape until you know what's in the landscape. It's a bit like beginnings and ends. My end is my beginning and my beginning is my end, you know, that sort of stuff. So I like to look into the landscape.
Inspiring. Thanks, Rowena. Excellent. Okay, Jane, what's on your list to talk about? Do you want to step over this way?
Say how we do it.
Yes, we're getting on to, like, because the exhibition's called Variations on a Stitch, and obviously we've all looked at it, as Lynne began to say, from a very different perspective. And there are variations using, we've all used stitch in some form to express our idea of what we see in the landscape that we're noticing. And yeah, so that was the main thing about what drove us. And the OPUS 4 was hopefully we get to have some more exhibitions and we might get known getting out there that the OPUS group is up to some more textile art for people to take notice of. So yeah.
And so, okay, so this is your piece here, Ode to Our Waratah. So what inspires you? What are you looking at when you're looking at creating something like this?
Well, it began with, I did some workshops online through lockdown period by textileartists.org, and they ran some professional textile artists getting you to try different techniques, and sort of that got me started on. I'd been doing a lot of work with layering lots of different fabrics and things. I've been really interested in fabric and stitch for a long time. Always interested in textures and depth and lustres and all that sort of thing. And I've been going to Cradle Mountain ever since I was a child, and the whole bush and the depth and layers of the Cradle Mountain scenery is always really close to my heart. And so it began with, I had some, really red fabric, and I just started using the Waratah, because the Tasmanian Waratah is different to the New South Wales Waratah, that not many people realise. It's quite a different looking flower than the New South Wales one. And I wanted to depict, because when you're out there in the bush and it's just rained and it's really bright colours, when you look at it just glancingly, you might see dull sort of greens and greys, but when you really look, there's layers and layers and depth and patterns and texture, and that's what I wanted to try and depict. And I'm all about, I like all the rough edges because that's what, you know, the bush and our landscape's about, and I like sort of random, you know, not designed, well, it is designed in obviously the way I place things, but I wanted to use lots of different textures to bring forward what I wanted people to notice and to get the depth of the bush behind, and that's what I've tried to get across.
It's very effective. Yeah, I like all the layers in there as well. That's great. Thank you. Thanks, Jane. Okay, I've got a question for... Thank you. I've got a question for all three artists, and I have a feeling there's a few textile artists in the room. So my question is if we could unpick the creative brain of a textile artist, what would we find? So what do you guys think about?
Fabric stash somewhere.
Fabric stash?
I think lots and lots of ideas mulling around. I mean, that's what my brain's like, a million different ideas, but being pulled together through the texture and the tactileness of fabric and the stitch, and ways to bring that together to try and express something that's
Yeah.
that's
And you've got a big array really of options, haven't you, like materials that you can go for this effect or what have you?
I think it's the layers that really appeal to me, and there's a lot of layers in that brain as well.
Okay, Lynne?
I've got two strands to my bow. I said I'm a graphic designer trained, so I see pattern in nature. I walk around, I see pattern all the time. So I'd work with that. Some of my landscapes, I'm abstracting things out and breaking them down, and I'm replaying those patterns. And then I've got an autobiographical style to my work. So there's a bit of the family keeps dripping in every now and again. They're completely different, you know. So there's like, it's the last from Leeds keeps turning up, you know. And I'm doing portraits. I've got this huge portrait of my it's enormous that I'm working on. It's still sitting on the table, but I've my three sisters, the three of us, and I went back to England for the wedding. It was the only niece's wedding, and we've all got hats on, so I've got this big sort of thing happening with quilting and all sorts of stuff happening. So there's sort of two things, you know. And I've got this, I don't know if you know about the Bayer tapestry. I've got a version of that. It was my life. I worked at the Art Gallery of WA, and it's the sort of a story of this. It's a 17-metre embroidery that I'm working on. That's sort of that's an autobiographical strand. So there's just two things, and there's a schism in there.
So it sounds like your projects are really at the forefront of your mind, like your current projects that you're working on.
I usually work on probably about 3 or 4 big quilts. I'm working on. I guess my plan for next year is to do some bigger things, you know, and I actually would like to get into America, because I put my quilts into national sort of shows and exhibitions, and, you know, the juried in. So it's nice getting the focus of your work in those. So, but I fancy America because it's harder and it's bigger.
Sounds like a good challenge.
Yeah, so I don't know where that's going to happen. So anyway, that's sort of next year, so we'll see about that.
Thank you. And Rowena, what goes on in your brain?
In my brain? Oh, my God.
I think we should have not asked you this.
I started off, and I still am, a spinner, weaver and dyer. So wool has always been my focus. So there's a lot of wool in there.
It's fuzzy,
And
lots of colours.
In a thing, I started watercolour painting, which I did way back, you know, at school. So the watercolours are still in there, and I keep wanting to paint, but now I'm using Tracer's inks. I figure that's real good.
Yeah.
And now I've started doing gel plate prints, and that's acrylics, and that's fun too.
I love that.
But gel plate on the canvas with the stitch and all of the stuff, and it just goes on and all the other stuff as well.
Can I just say one thing? We have a little group that we communicate with ourselves, and it's named the Bin Chicks, because we're always foraging around for things and in bins and stash and bits of things. So I think that probably sums us up.
Yes.
We get stuff and fiddle around with it.
And
We've all got so much stuff.
We decided we're going to shop our own studios.
Our
We're
own
not going to buy.
stashes.
Yeah. That's excellent. Anyone else want to add to that? What goes on in your...
What do 10 people in the workshop look like if they're all like very busy?
We have lots of trading of ideas.
We've got a go all day. Milk jugs that full, and that will be empty by lunchtime.
We do lots of trading of ideas. It's been really, really inspirational because we sort of feedback for our work and extending ideas that we might start with. It's been really.
We're working on bring things to share, so they might have learned a technique. Lynne's terrific because she brings them all the time. She might have learned a technique or have a practice that she knows that's of interest. So we do demonstrations, and we've had a couple of play days. But generally, they sit around, they're talking, sharing, moving between each other, bringing books, magazines, or I saw this website, that sort of stuff. Generally, they manage to get a little bit of stitching done.
Is dinner included?
We're working on a little project based around Woolmers for next year. And so we're actually working on, the idea was 1 a month, just to expand our own individual practice and stretch ourselves. So there was a lot of, I'm not quite there yet, it's still in the starting stalls, but it's actually the process of going through has been really good. So we're actually working together to develop ourselves as artists. And then, we brought the work out the last meeting, and we were just having a bit of a review of what we're doing and helping each other. And it's really interesting to see how people grow. Because actually there's 2 teachers in here. She does the younger ones and I did the older ones. So you can't help but teach. There's a bit of that. So we very much help each other and developing ourselves as professional artists, because there's the making. There's also things like this to presenting. And so obviously I did the communications. We've got a database now of contacts that we're building up, so we're just trying to work collectively and support each other. But we've got bookbinding going on. We've got a knitter. She's doing some beautiful little baby knitting things, Victorian little hats for Woolmers. There's a whole mixture of making going on. And this cake.
Yum.
And I suppose it's all about ways of seeing.
Yeah.
God, they drink cups of tea.
And it looks like Chris has something she'd like to say.
Well, yes.
I can hold this.
You can hold it? Cool. I was just going to add, really, what Lynne has said, that this group began, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
3 years? Yeah. And I think it's the most wonderful thing because I have watched their art just take off like that, It's really been wonderful to see. And I think it's got to go around the whole state. The logistics of workshops here, it's fine. I can organise them in Hobart, and we've got some wonderful ones coming up, including a wonderful inks person at the end of the next year, all sorts of things. But that collaborative thing of getting together as a group under our umbrella, because that is a financial consideration, because believe me, insurance costs a bomb. And so you've got that opportunity and then you feed in. And we've just finished our exhibition, which celebrated our 20th year. And there was a woman at a workshop just straight after that, and she came from Bowen. And she said to me, she has never, ever seen an exhibition of that nature and that quality anywhere in Australia. And believe me, she travels around Australia doing workshops all the time, she knows. So I think it's a real credit to the creatives of Tasmania, and I'd like to say thank you for having the group. And, if you want to join a group, get in touch and we'll start it rolling, because it's quite easy to do. And I think you will enjoy the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Excellent. Okay, has anyone got any questions or anything they'd like to say at this stage? No? Well, I just want to thank you all for coming. If you're interested in any of the artworks, please see Corey or myself. You're very welcome to stay and have a chat further with the artists and browse, and I'll be serving some fresh scones and cream up the back over there shortly. Pardon?
Cups of tea.
Sorry, no cups of tea. Yes, next time we'll make a note to bring the teapot. So this exhibition runs, it's open every day, 9 till 5 until Wednesday the 19th, I think, of November. So please tell your family and friends about it. We're still building our name here, this gallery. What else did I have to
I
say?
just wanted to say, over by the delectable Corey, you'll see 2 other beautiful examples of eco-printing on textiles, which also falls within our purview. We have a phenomenal eco-printer called Christine Davson-Galla. Is that Alkia's work?
No, that's Leanne Ames.
Leanne Ames.
Yeah.
And there is also, you've got some by Alkia here, haven't you? Alkia Bernstraw, I'm sure she had work here. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Don't think
You'll
so.
see it everywhere.
I've not heard of her.
And sometimes you won't realise because it'll be garments. And so many of our members work with garments, either on mannequins or on people. It's everywhere.
Thank you. Thanks, Rowena. So I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to come out today to Campbelltown. So thanks for being here. Thanks to everyone watching online. And congratulations to Jane and Lynne and Rowena and Mignon, who she might be watching the stream maybe. But congratulations on your hard work and dedication. And I've got down here, which probably matches with what you were saying, the brainstorming it took to bring this exhibition together, because I've got this feeling there was a lot of brainstorming. A lot of brain, a lot of wool coming together.
You asked us about our brain.
Thanks very much for coming, everyone. Thank you.
Lastly, we need to thank Harmony on High and Leanne and Corey for supporting Jane's excellent proposal that she did and submitted to allow us to have our exhibition here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, thanks, ladies. Thank you.
If anybody wants to know about technical things or just